This is Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Summich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hour number 3, Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown, Keith Irizarry, and we are looking here at a 29-12 game. Yes, Tennessee Volunteers through, what are we looking at, 17 minutes and 9 seconds have scored 12 points. They are 5 of 24 from the floor, 0 of 13 from 3, and 2 of 4 from the line with 4 turnovers. Keith, we have statistics for this.
So what do you want? First half atrocities or full game atrocities?
Let's give the people all of the cool stuff here that we might be able to witness, though I guess Tennessee has blown at least the first half one already.
Yes. All right. So Colorado State last year scored 11 points against Texas in March Madness. That was the lowest first half point total for a singular team in the history of the tournament. This year you had 13 from Clemson against McNeese State. That was the lowest of this tournament. So right now, Tennessee can still break that record. Now, you were talking a bunch with me about like point totals for Tennessee, ways that things could help you. Let's give you some statistical background here. The lowest point total in the history of March Madness, NCAA tournament rather, came back in 2008. It was Mississippi Valley State. They were a 16 seed against UCLA. They only scored 29 points.
So that's where I'm going for here. I want to see.
That's what you're going.
I want to see history. Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to lose this bet and I'm going to get my last Calcutta team bounced, then I would at least want to see history. So Tennessee, I refuse for you to make any 3-pointers in this game. I'd like you to go 0 for 26. If you're already 0 for 13, go 0 for 26, and let's see some history.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Just so you know, other teams that have had terrible games, you had Wisconsin and Southwest Missouri State. There was only 32 points in a total game, 1999. That was Wisconsin. Montana against Syracuse only scored 34 back in 2013. And then for the most part, it really is all like 15 and 16 seeds. So it's interesting that a team like Tennessee, who is a top-tier team, is struggling this mightily against Houston. And again, if you want to check those live lines, if you came in backing Tennessee, you lost out on some of your value a little bit. We were up to, I think, 16.5. It's now plus 14.5 on the spread at minus 106. But if you believe that Tennessee's going to win this game, you can have 12-1 odds.
Well, Keith, I did it, so I'll take the blame here. Robbie Ray, no longer perfect. As a matter of fact, he has now given up back-to-back homers to the Reds, and now it's 4-3. So this game is interesting. He fell off the proverbial wagon.
That's
there.
all on you, man.
Yes, it is all on me to a homer to Austin Wins, who is the backup catcher there out of the 9-hole, and then Matt McClain ends up going deep there to straightaway center. So back-to-back dongs there for the Reds, and I think they're going to give him a little bit. They're going to give him a little bit more of a leash here, but I imagine this will be the last inning there for Robbie Ray. Still 5-3 Yankees and the Brewers. Still 3-0 in the Nats and the Phillies. Still 2-1 in Toronto and Baltimore. So all of these games have not moved since we last updated you guys. So we'll certainly let you know if anything changes over there. Real quick, if you do want to bet some NASCAR, I'm not a big NASCAR guy. Keith, you a big NASCAR guy?
I like it a little bit. It's all right.
You'll take it in if it's on TV, like on the third TV, if it's just kind of one of those type deals. Yeah.
NASCAR always seems like good background for me, and then when it gets exciting, I'll dive in.
So Steve Makinen every single week does his simulations for these races, guys. If you're not already signed up for the VSiN newsletter, you should just do it. It's free, so just do it. And then Bill will also throw in some free plays in there as well. And just like he did today here with Steve Makinen, who went in, this is the first of the 2 stops over there at Martinsville. He did his simulations, his top 5. Elliott, Hamlin, Larson, Wallace, and Byron, his top underdogs to consider to where they placed in his simulations would be Wallace, Priest, Briscoe, and Dillon. And then he does not like, and these are favorites in the race, at least in his simulations, didn't perform all that well. Some favorites to struggle, Busch, Keselowski, and Buescher. So again, his top 5, Elliott, Hamlin, Larson, Wallace, and Byron. underdogs to consider Wallace, Priest, Briscoe, and Dillon. And then the favorites out there that didn't perform too well in his simulations were Busch, Keselowski, and Buescher. So there you go. That's about all I can give you from a NASCAR.
All of those.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's about all I can give you from a NASCAR standpoint there, Keith. That's about it.
I co-sign. Yes. I agree on all of those.
There we go. NFC South, guys, we said these win totals are getting posted over there on DraftKings. This division, pretty interesting when you break it down, because the highest win total in the division is the Bucs, sitting at 9.5, 7.5 on the Falcons, and then 6.5 on both the Panthers and the Saints. This division could be the worst in all of football next year, Keith. I know there's some other divisions we could debate on that, but if you look, Bucs, a team that ran on the right side of injury variance this past year outside of Godwin and was able to put together another decent season, but it is one of the older teams in the NFL. You got a Falcons team that's going to rely on Michael Penix kind of making his first go at it. You got the Saints that wanted to get rid of Carr. Carr ends up staying. They restructure his deal. They don't know what they're doing at quarterback. Maybe they end up drafting somebody coming up. And then the Panthers showed a little bit of signs of life down the stretch last year, but that didn't equal a ton of wins for them. Do any of these numbers jump off the page to you?
Nothing jumps out, but the Falcons are the value play there, right? Because if you're a Michael Penix believer, then you should believe that this team in a very weak division can win some games. So why can't they win 8 games? And then you would hit your over there too. You've got Bijan Robinson, one of the more talented running backs in the NFL. You've got Drake London, one of the more talented wide receivers in the NFL. Their defense was not as bad as you thought they were going to be last year. I think they'll beef up the offensive line a little bit as well. So I think 8 wins feels attainable for the Atlanta Falcons. That would be my play. I don't necessarily love anything in there. I'll throw this back at you. All right, so you mentioned the Carolina Panthers, and Bryce Young looked like a real QB towards the latter portion of the regular season last year. But like you said, it didn't amount to a lot of wins. What was the number? 6.5 for them?
Yeah.
Can they get to 7? Would you be willing to bet that they get to 7?
So I kind of get to the point where if I'm willing to bet the Panthers are going to get to 7 wins and kind of make that type of leap, I almost in conjunction would want to bet them just to win the division as well. I don't like any of these teams in this division. So if I'm going to bet on any of the teams to take a leap, then I think I need to also bet them to win the division as well. I think I will probably end up with a Falcons ticket and maybe a Panthers ticket as well when it's all said and done. Like I said, this is 2 years in a row that the Bucs have run on the right side of injury variance. I know Godwin did go down for the last stretch for them, but outside of that, they stayed pretty healthy for a team that it basically is all dudes over 30 years old and some in their mid-30s. And so I think it's probably up for grabs, and I think the Falcons and Panthers could end up getting a ticket for me. I'm probably going to fade the Saints every which way but loose this coming season. They don't have any talent as it is anyway. Didn't want Carr to be the quarterback. I think Carr is probably washed at this point in his career, and I think there's a non-zero chance that the Saints end up drafting a quarterback in this draft as it is anyway, and at some point in the season, he ends up taking over for Carr. A lot of signs, a lot of smoke around Jackson Dart. We didn't get to it when we were talking about good news, bad news there, Keith, but 3 different guys over at ESPN draft analysts now are 75%, 90%, and then 95% were the percentages that they attached to Jackson Dart now going in the first round from everything that they're hearing from not only in their industry sources and stuff like that, but just, other people that are feeding them information. And so the Saints could be one of those. The Saints could be that team. The Saints could be that team that ends up taking Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart ends up starting 7 or 8 games for this team. I'm not going to think that he's going to equal a bunch of wins for them either. So I think it's a fade on the Saints and maybe a bet on the Falcons and Panthers.
Except that I think Bo Nix would like to, call in and let you know that he won games last year. So Jackson Dart would like to remind you that maybe he could. No, I'm with you, by the way. I jest a little bit there. I do think that Jackson Dart is going to end up in New Orleans. It feels just destined to be there. And it feels like Derek Carr will start a bunch of games and they will be a below average team and Dart will get his chance and the under might be the play there. The Falcons seem to be the play there for the division too. Just really quickly, I happen to look over to my left side to my TV screen, and we have a chance still for a little bit of history with Tennessee.
Okay.
They're at 15 points. The lowest, and I think it was either a 2 seed or a 3 seed. I looked quickly. The lowest point total in a first half by a 2 or a 3 seed ever was 16. So we can still get a little bit of history.
There we go. That's good right there.
I'm just trying to make you smile, man. I'm trying to make you smile.
I mean, I absolutely love this because now we have shifted, and I know people don't care about my own personal bets here or whatever, but, to share a little bit with you guys, in this Calcutta that I'm in, they also pay out the lowest scoring team in the tournament. I think so far the lowest point total was like 42 points or 40 points or something like that. So Tennessee, don't you turn it on now. Don't you do this. You continue shooting 21% from the floor, and 1 of 15 equals 2 of 30 from 3. If we just double it, let's do that. I'm fine with all of that. Let's keep turning the ball over. Just score fewer than any other team has in the tournament so far.
Like, if you're going to be bad, be historically bad. Like, just be terrible.
Yes, if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly, they say. So go ahead and, do that. Like, don't mess around. Don't mess around with this. If you're going to be bad, at least win me some money because you are being so incredibly bad. We are at the half there, 34-15 in favor of Houston over Tennessee. Yes, we only have 49 points that have been scored so far in this one. Guys, we talked a little bit earlier about First Bet. If you haven't gone in, if you didn't go do it, go in, download the First Bet app. That is 1stbet.com. And when you do, like we said, use the promo code VEASAN200. That VEASAN200 promo code is going to get you a 20% rebate on all of your wagers for the first 60 days, up to $200. Not only can you make bets at tracks across the country and across the world, but you can sit there and watch the races happen inside the app as well. That is the bonus that you get over at First Bet. That is the #1 stbet.com. VEASAN200 is your promo code.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Summich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown, Keith Irizarry, and we're sitting here and we're talking about the whether we think these teams are caring about pitch counts and things. Well, I can tell you the Phillies don't care about Aaron Nola's arm, Keith, as they let him go 95 pitches before he gives up 5 earned in that one to the Nats, and so they were like, just keep throwing. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Yeah, it'll be good. Matt's got a ticket on you guys to win the NL East. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
Yes, it's not panning out too good for us right now. And of course, we talked about this college basketball game out here, Houston and Tennessee, 34-15 at half, and we'll see if we can make any sense of this. Now joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line, Rob Dauster. He is the founder of the Field of 68. Rob, what did we just watch here for the first 20 minutes of this game?
You watch Houston showing everybody why they deserve to be in the conversation with Duke and Florida and Auburn as national title, not just #1 seeds, but national title favorites. I think that what they did defensively to Tennessee is something we haven't seen teams do all that much, man. They completely shut down the dribble penetration. They completely shut down Zakai Ziegler, and they got the Vols thinking about everything. You could tell a team is thinking about stuff too much when you have shooters like Chaz Lanier and Justin Gainey, who are objectively great shooters that are just so off, man. They're coming off of these screens, and it's short, it's off to the right, like it's just not even close. It's been a really, really impressive defensive performance through 20 minutes for Houston.
Rob, we're always looking for a live betting angle. Was there anything there in that first half that would lead you to believe that Tennessee can cut this closer? Plus 16.5 you can get Tennessee right now. Is that something you'd look at?
Yeah, probably. I don't think that Tennessee is going to shoot 21% again. I can't see him going 1 for 15 from 3. Chaz Lanier, Zakai Ziegler, those guys were combined 2 for 16 from the floor. That has to change, right? You think? So someone's got to start making some shots there for Tennessee. So I don't think that's the worst bet in the world. The only problem is if Houston scores like the first 4 points, first 6 points of the second half, this is something where Tennessee just kind of rolls over and says, you know what, we don't have it today. Let's go home and call it a season. That's the only thing that I'd be worried about is just Houston kind of breaking their spirit when they don't have anything to play for tomorrow.
Rob, whenever we look at this, what fundamentally, obviously, they shot incredibly poorly. I understand that, but What does Tennessee need to change, in your opinion, here in the second half to get any sort of anything going? I mean, 15 points. They couldn't get anything going from three. They didn't even really shoot the two very well. I mean, are you expecting maybe they need to increase the tempo? Do they need to do this, that, and the other? Is there anything that you can think that might change their fortunes here?
Well, for starters, you can keep Houston from getting to the offensive glass. That's easier said than done because the Cougars have like 17 guys that are 6'9" with 7'6" wingspans that are athletic and play as hard as anybody in college basketball. So you got to be able to keep JoJo Tugler off the offensive glass. You got to be able to keep Javier, for instance, off the offensive glass. You got to be able to keep them from getting those tip outs where they're able to get second chance opportunities. I think you do that. If Houston doesn't have any offensive rebounds, if Tennessee is able to end possessions, then this is probably like an 8 to 10 point game instead of a 19-point game. And if this is an 8 to 10 point game, then there's a real chance that Tennessee can come back and make some noise here. 19 is just, they dug themselves too much of a hole. But if they want to have any chance, you got to keep Houston from getting second chance opportunities, and you got to be able to knock down some of these open looks. It's not like Tennessee has not gotten shots, guys. They've gotten open threes. Chaz Lanier has gotten the shots that he wants. You've had a couple of open looks for Zakai Ziegler. The problem is they're not going down. If Jordan Gainey, Zakai Ziegler, and Chaz Lanier are going to combine to go 4 for 22 from the floor and 1 for 13 from three, Tennessee is not going to beat anybody. They're not beating Houston State, let alone Houston.
Nice line there, Rob. All right, let's move to Michigan State and Auburn. At first glance, when you knew these two teams were going to be squaring off, what were you honing in on?
I think Auburn wins this. The biggest thing for me is there's just the size and athleticism discrepancy when it comes to Michigan State and some of these teams in the SEC, right? And we saw it for about 30 minutes against Ole Miss, where Ole Miss just kind of did what Michigan State wants to do. They just did it better. They were able to control the glass. They were able to control the tempo. They were able to get stops. And I think that Auburn does all that stuff better than even Ole Miss does. They have the size inside. They have the size on the wings. They have some bigger guards. I know they played the hot Pettiford, but they do have some size in their backcourt. And the thing about Michigan State is, especially on the perimeter, Jace Richardson is like 6'2" or 6'3". Jay Nakins is like 6'2" or 6'3". When they play Cohen Carr up front, all of a sudden they got a 6'4" guy in the front court when Auburn is, trying to play Dylan Cardwell alongside Janai Broome. So I just think Auburn has too much size and athleticism here. The only thing that kind of scares me is that I think Auburn wants to be able to run. Like, they want to get up and down, and playing a Michigan State team in transition is kind of playing into their hands, and that's what they want to do, right? They want to get defensive rebounds and get out and run the floor. They want to be able to get on the break so that they don't have to play against a set defense because of their obvious shortcomings when it comes to shooting the ball. So that's the one thing that I think could play into Michigan State's favor here, but Auburn is I think there's just too much firepower on this Auburn roster.
Talking to Rob Dauster, founder of the Field of 68. Rob, when we look at this, one of the things that everybody talks about a ton here from Michigan State is they don't shoot very many threes, and then they don't shoot it well even when they do shoot it. And so with the size discrepancy that you're talking about with Auburn down low, it doesn't look like that it's pointing to them winning down low either. Do you expect them to just maybe change the game plan a little bit, even though they don't shoot efficiently from three? Do you think we see them hoist it up a little bit more from outside here in this one?
No, I think what they will try to do is just get out and run. If you can, Michigan State will get fast breaks off of made free throws, right? Like, they run off of everything. And I think that they're going to try to do that. Like, if you can beat them down the floor, beat Auburn down the floor, that is, then you don't have to worry about the size inside. You don't have to worry about the struggles that you're going to have maybe creating dribble penetration, right? You'll just be able to get layups or open jump shots against the defense that's not set yet. So I think that's what the goal is going to be for Tom Izzo here. The other part of it is, guys, Jace Richardson is the difference maker. He's the game changer. In the same way that the Hod Pettiford is the guy that takes Auburn from being good to being watch out, this team is lethal, that's what Jace Richardson can do. And we've seen him take over games and win games for Michigan State on nights when they're not playing well. He did it in the Sweet 16. He had 20.6 rebounds and 2 huge defensive rebounds in traffic that helped Michigan State avoid getting knocked off by Ole Miss there.
Rob, who's the best team still playing right now? Is it Duke?
I mean, yeah, it's Duke. It's Duke. I think Duke is approaching, like, are they the best team of the decade territory right now? Just with kind of, how good they are defensively and how many different weapons they have on the offensive end. The biggest thing they were able to do last night against Mark Sears and Alabama was they went after Sears every possession in the second half offensively, right? They just said, we have a bunch of wings that are 6'5", 6'6", and what we're going to do is figure out whoever he is guarding, we're going to put that guy in a ball screen, and we're going to find a way to be able to make him work defensively. And doing that throughout the second half got him tired, and you could just see offensively it really wore him down. So Duke has the ability to beat you in so many different ways on the offensive end. And oh, by the way, they switch everything, and nobody on the court smaller than 6'5". They're ridiculous, man. I don't know who beats them this season. I hope we get an Auburn Duke national title game because I think that's the one team that can really give them a good game. But I don't even know at this point. Like, Auburn's already lost to them. I don't know at this point if even that would be something that'd be worthwhile. It kind of feels in the same way that it felt like last season. We were just waiting for the UConn coronation. That's kind of what this year feels like for Duke.
He is Rob Dauster. Find him over at the Field of 68. Also at Rob Dauster over there on the Twitter machine. Rob, appreciate the time today and enjoy what hopefully, because I'm on the Auburn side of things, is an Auburn win a little bit later.
Yeah, man. We'll see. Hopefully it works out. I have a 12-1 future on all 4 number 1 seeds making it to the Final Four, and it looks like Houston's going to get there. So hopefully Auburn's going to be able to get it done for both of us.
There you go. Good luck on that one too, my friend, and enjoy the game.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that.
Keith, here we are. Another college basketball expert, another saying that Duke just seems destined to get it done this year.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that, though, is you came into the Field of 68, Field of 64. A lot of people were saying that was Florida. And Florida, they haven't dominated. But as great as Cooper Flagg is, and he is the best player in college basketball, Walter Clayton, he is the Steph Curry of this tournament right now. When they need a bucket, he just is, I don't know. Florida is good. I think if we get Florida Duke, I think that could be epic.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get Florida Duke, but we'll see. Again, 34-15 at the half right now. Going to get going here in the second half momentarily. Just 49 total points between Houston and Tennessee. When we come back, take a look at some of these draft picks that are available over at DraftKings.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Samich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown, Keith Irizarry, and 34-15, getting ready to get going here in the second half. 15.5 is your live line in favor of Houston, a 116.5 live total. And if you believe Tennessee comes all the way back, 15-1, but you said you were digging through the box score there. Their best guy's not getting it done, and that is yet another problem.
Ziegler and Lanier are a combined 2 for 16 shooting. Your starting lineup for the Tennessee Volunteers have combined for 11 points. This is tied for the largest deficit that Tennessee has had this year or last year in a singular game. And the 15 points is the lowest any 2 or 3 seed has scored in a first half since like 1980 something.
So we could witness history. So we shall see here as Tennessee comes out and misses their first 2 shots. And there's more of the same, at least here early on.
They'll score over 29 though, right? I know I'm interrupting you for a second.
I hope not.
Tennessee's got 15.
Yes.
29 is the all-time low for a team in the NCAA tournament. It was a 16 seed against a 1. It was Mississippi Valley State against UCLA back in 2008. 29 points in an entire game.
Yeah. And if you're Houston, you don't play at a fast pace as it is anyway right now. You play smothering defense. You have no reason to speed it up, as we see this possession right here with this Houston team where they're just taking their time because, hey, if Tennessee can't throw it in the ocean, why would you speed it up? I don't know, man. That'd be fun. Come on, Tennessee. Let's get it done. Let's watch some history. I'm all about history. In our not so fast over here in Houston, as Minwoo Lee is only 1 under through 8 holes. Gary Woodland 5 under, Sammy Valimaki 6 under, Wyndham Clark 6 under, and Rory McIlroy 6 under on the round. Gary Woodland only 2 back now of Minwoo Lee, Sammy Valimaki, Wyndham Clark, Rory McIlroy all only 3 back of Minwoo Lee. So maybe a little bit of drama over there in the Texas Children's Houston Open. I hope not for my Long Shots co-hosts who do have Minwoo Lee here in this one, but Gary Woodland, Wyndham Clark, Rory McIlroy, Sammy Valimaki making a run here. Scotty Scheffler through 9 holes is 2 under. He still has the whole back 9. That said, he is 4 strokes off the lead there in that one. If anything drastically changes, of course, we will get back to you there on that one. And we're about to find out, Keith, just exactly how kid glovey they are going to be with Jacob deGrom, because we are through 4 innings with deGrom, but he is up to 64 pitches. And so we're going to find out, do they give him 1 more inning? Do they care about the pitch count? What do we see here with Jacob deGrom holding a 1-0 lead there over the Red Sox?
It is going to be fascinating. What's his pitch total? Do you have it in front of you?
64. 64 through 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see.
Box score really quick. So I don't have that. So I don't have that game on one of my screens, but just looking at the box score really fast. I think they let him pitch 1 more inning.
1 more.
5 strikeouts. Yeah. 2 hits allowed. He's walked 2. I think you let him go into the 5th inning. If he gets into any trouble at all, you pull him right away. But I think he'll get a 5th inning.
So this I tend to believe that as well, and it'll be interesting because even if he has a clean inning in that one, now you're definitely going to be into the 70s. We're going to see just how much they are going to hold back Jacob deGrom here. Again, can only assume it's the game isn't on here either for me, Keith, but we're looking at the box score. He's only given up 2 hits, and he struck out 5 through 4. I'm guessing we're getting the vintage Jacob deGrom performance here in this thing.
When he's healthy, he's really good.
Yeah.
There's no way to word it any other different way. When he is healthy, he is typically one of the best pitchers in baseball. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy for the last 5 or 6 seasons.
One of the question marks there in the AL Central, the Cleveland Guardians, was their pitching staff. Was Bybee going to be able to be a true step up and be a true top of the rotation guy? So far through 4 innings against the Royals, 4 innings, 2 hits against. He's walked 1. He's only struck out 1, but has not had this Royals team that, again, is, I look down the lineup, they've got everybody in there. It's India, Witt, Pascual, Perez, Massey, so Renfroe. They got the whole team in there. So far, so good for Bybee here, at least in early going against this Royals team.
I came into last year a big fan of Tanner Bybee. I still am. I think that he has the potential to be a frontline starter. I'm excited to see what he can do this season. He's got good enough stuff, and he's a smart pitcher as well. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the smarts are what can get you by.
We do have a couple of games that are starting here in a bit. If anybody wants to get involved in the Cubs and the Diamondbacks, that is Boyd versus Rodriguez. This is 115-ish, 110-ish, 112-ish. So it's kind of, this come way down. This was an opener in which we saw the Diamondbacks heavily favored. Cubs getting a lot of money here to make this about a coin flip in this one. That first pitch coming in about a half an hour as we see Boyd head over to the Cubs. So we got Erod over there with the Diamondbacks. I weirdly like this Diamondbacks team, Keith. I know they play in the division of death, so they're not going to get it done there with the Dodgers, but I think this Diamondbacks team, if the Dodgers didn't exist, we would be talking a lot more about them.
I think Arizona's going to get a lot of wins outside of that NL West. I agree with you. The young players, it's time for them to all take a little bit of a step forward. They've got a really good pitching staff. They're a team that they're going to be one of those nuisance teams. They're going to be really annoying. You're going to randomly see them with a 9-game winning streak at some point this season. You go, should we be talking about them in the NL West? And then they'll lose like 3 or 4.
Right.
That's the kind of season I think I see from Arizona.
And we also have Oakland and Seattle. That first pitch again coming in about a half an hour as well. That is Sears versus Wu. This is a huge number on Seattle at -180. 7.5 is your run total here. Listen, I like Brian Wood as much as the next guy, Keith, but last time I checked, you still have to score runs in order to win baseball games. And this Seattle offense, I mean, I'm watching that game last night. It was a late West Coast game. I don't know. You East Coasters might have been in bed, but Seattle had base runners all over the place and could not get anything across, like could not get the timely hit, couldn't even hit a sac fly, couldn't roll one over to second base to get anybody home. They're going to waste this pitching staff again this year with this lineup. There's no way I'm ever laying minus 180 ever with this Seattle team, ever.
Well, no. You're not doing that. But if you want to go glass as half full, they had base runners, which means maybe they start figuring out, to score some runs. Got to have the base runners to score some runs.
This is true.
Trying to give you glass as half full.
This is true. This is true. I mean, it is something crazy when you look at that pitching staff and how good those guys are just top to bottom and just cannot seem to get it going. Okay. So over in the NFL tab over on DraftKings, guys, they have populated a lot of NFL markets, and honestly, more markets are getting populated by the day. And so it was just number 1 pick for a while. Then they added number 2 pick. Now we have gotten to where there is number 3, number 4, and number 5 pick that has been added. Now, the number 3 pick, as we all know, is currently one that we are sitting here saying, this team, what exactly is the New York Giants going to do with this franchise after they go and sign 2 quarterbacks in the offseason, Keith? That's why we're not seeing that this market is favored for Shedeur to go there. It's actually Travis Hunter at minus 150. Shedeur is sitting at plus 120. Abdul Carter at plus 250, and everybody else is 10-1 or longer. You hear everything that's going on. You hear the scuttlebutt up there in New York. Do you think, even with signing Jameis, even with signing Russell Wilson, that we still maybe have them pull the trigger on Shedeur Sanders if he's there at 3? I mean, hell, the Browns might take him at 2.
So I am hearing very mixed reviews out of the New York camp. Again, I'm in New York, work for a couple of networks out here as well, so I do have a few, minor sources that can give me a little bit of extra information. It seems like everyone in that Giant organization is very split as to whether or not they believe Shedeur Sanders can ever be a lead, real QB in the NFL. So with Wilson there, with Jameis Winston there, it seems like they would be leaning more towards one of the defensive, whether it's Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. It seems like they'd be leaning more towards one of them at number 3. Rock it out with Wilson this year, more than likely. Probably win 4 or 5 games, and then you hope that you can draft Arch Manning next year. That's what it appears to me. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the people I've spoken to.
Yeah, I actually like one of the defensive players here in this market, and mainly because, one, I don't know if Shedeur will even be there. I think that I think there is a chance that you get the Browns to take him at 2, and then even if he's there at 3, Keith, like you said, you probably look at it and say, what is the upside here with all of this? Why don't we just stink? Why don't we try to get in the lottery next year and go after Arch Manning? Let's take a guy that is a difference maker, either Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. I'm with you there. I don't think Shedeur goes. I like one of the defensive players there at pick number 3. Guys, if you haven't done so already, VSiN.com/subscribe, $9.99 for the first 30 days. You can go in, get every single thing that we do for under $10 for the first 30 days. And that includes all of the daily picks, the betting splits, and of course, you can go in those daily articles breaking down every single thing going on in the sports world. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Samich on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Final segment here, Ready, Set, Bet on VSiN. Matt Brown, Keith Irizarry, and guess what? They've ruined it for us. You ruiners, ruined it for us already. They've already scored 15 points here in the second half, have Tennessee, so they've gotten to 30. We're not going to see a record. They're not going to be the lowest scoring team in the tournament, so I'm not going to win my thing there, but they've cut the lead to 14, so somewhat interesting now.
Yeah, and the live line now 12.5 for, plus 12.5 for Tennessee. So I didn't fire on the 14.5. I'm not going to bother firing on the 12.5. I feel like this is one of those ones where you didn't get the number you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just going to dive in just to dive in. Again, you brought up the money line. It was, I think, 12-1. It's 14-1 right now. I don't think Tennessee is going to win this game. But again, they're on a bit of a run right now. So they're starting to score. The over-under went from 113.5 to 112.5 to 115.5 to now 118.5.
They have made 3 threes already here in the second half after only making 1 in the first half. So 4 of 22 now for the game, still only 18%, but much better than only making 1. So 18% for them. On the Houston side of things, they're 40% from the floor. They are 30% from 3. They've only gotten to the line twice, and so they are 2 of 2 from the line there in that one. They do have 4 blocks in this game, which is a little bit interesting. 6 turnovers for Tennessee. Not good for sure. Keith, Sunday night baseball, we do have the Braves in action, and you've got a prop there in that one.
Yeah, so sometimes when you look at these games, you try to find, like, who hasn't hit the ball well yet, but has actually still hit the ball hard. Marcell Ozuna jumped out to me, and 4-1 odds for him to hit a home run tonight. He's got good numbers in his career against Nick Pivetta, which is always something I like to take a look at. He's got 6 home runs out of the 8 hits that he has against Pivetta. Also has 8 strikeouts, so you know that it's boom or bust with Marcell Ozuna. Yet to homer this season, and then you take a look at what Pivetta did last year, because that's the only data that you would have over the last calendar year. 28 home runs allowed in 27 games and 26 starts. So Ozuna, 4-1 odds to hit home run. I like it.
Yeah, of course, Marcell Ozuna, when you look at batted ball profile stuff, like, he just smashes the ball every single time. Dude just gets all kinds of hard contact there in that one. So I do like that one for sure. And then over in the NBA, you had a couple player props as well.
Yeah, let's go to Portland and New York, take a look at the Trailblazers and the Knicks. And the Knicks have been a hard team to kind of figure out because of no Brunson, and Deuce McBride didn't play the other night, so you don't really know exactly what you're going to get, except that actually you kind of do. And I think you're missing the boat if you're not paying attention. So OG Anunoby, he was brought into New York last year to be a 3-and-D more of a defensive guy. Well, suddenly, he is really offensive-minded. 5 consecutive games of at least 23 points, and he's gone over his point total that's been listed by the books in 12 of his last 15 games. So on FanDuel was the best number I found, -108, over 21.5 points. I think it's a fantastic play. I also then think if you want to, again, if we go with correlation, if you think points are going to be scored by him, and then you take a look at what his ledger has been, he's been hitting a lot of three-pointers as well. So you could look at the 3 or more three-pointers made at -102. That one also on FanDuel. He has topped his three-point number in 11 of his last 15 games.
No more homers, but more runs. 9-3 Yankees now over the Brewers there in that one.
Oh, we got our over.
Yeah, there we go. The over does get home. 5-0 Washington over Philly. And so we go down and kind of look at this, and a 6 1/3 out of Parker for them. He did give up 7 hits, but none of them cost him 5 Ks there. They let him go 93 pitches, and he does go in and shut down this Phillies offense that pretty much rolling out, all of their dudes here that were healthy. Trey Turner not in the lineup as he deals with a little bit of some soreness there, and then of course JT Realmuto fouled one off his foot, so he wasn't in there. But Schwarber, Bohm, Harper, Castellanos, Stott, they were all in there, and they could not get anything done against this Nats team.
Yeah, you would think that would be enough, but it was not. That was one of the ones I thought Phillies were going to win this game. I was wrong.
6-4 Tampa over Colorado, 3-1 in the 7th. Toronto over Baltimore, 2-2 Pittsburgh and Miami there in the bottom of the 8th. We were on perfect game watch until we weren't, until Robbie Ray goes out and gives up back-to-back homers there for the Giants that they have put across 6 themselves, but the Reds 3 across the board for them. So 6-3 here in the bottom of the 8th. The Reds do have a couple of base runners on, so we'll see if anything changes there. Cleveland 4-0 over the Royals, 8-2. St. Louis over Minnesota there, bottom of the 5th. That's in a rain delay. And let's see, did they let DeGrom come back out? He did come back out. He's at 73 pitches, Keith. Oh boy. Do they let him go 6?
Wow.
Do they let him go 6?
No.
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 Dunzo?
I mean, I listen, if I were running that organization, he does not. I don't, and I will say that I do not think they will either.
73 pitches for DeGrom, only 2 hits given up, 2 walks, and 6 Ks for DeGrom. So, again, Jacob DeGrom, when he's healthy, when he's on the mound, he is still one of the best guys out there. We'll see if the Rangers can, and obviously this whole, we'll see what his information is when we get done with this, Keith. But, I mean, you know, maybe this whole working at 96, 97 instead of 98, 99, 100 works out for him. He did strike out 6 in 5 innings.
Not bad. That was his over-under was 6.5 though, right?
It is. So I've got the under, right. So I'm kind of hoping you're right.
You want him out of the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping you're right that he gets the hook here. If you guys are wondering, Devers 0 for 3 in this game. He is still batting 0 on the season. 0 there on the season for Rafi Devers. So that's kind of what we're dealing with.
All Alex Bregman's fault.
Let's get to our G-Bank best bets here. And guys, like I said, I took the 4.5 with the Auburn Tigers. This has now moved out to 5.5. So certainly not the same number that I got. I can understand if you have some trepidation about going there. This is now 5.5 pretty much everywhere in the market. 1.5 left at Caesars. If you did want to play Auburn, it is juiced. However, 146.5 to 147.5 available out there from a total standpoint. But when it comes to it, too much size, too much strength for Auburn. I think that they kind of righted the ship here in the second half of that last game where they realized, okay, we got to get it together. We got to do this. And then Michigan State, like I said a little bit earlier, they don't shoot threes ever. And then when they do it very, very poorly, which doesn't really lend coming back in a game either. And that's one of the things I think if Auburn can get any sort of lead here, they can kind of protect it because you're not looking at a team. I mean, 330th in college basketball in rate of 3 points shot. They made under 31% of those shots for 327th in the country is Michigan State. And so again, Auburn can get any sort of lead for me here, Keith. I like it. I think it could be protected. So I took the 4.5. That's my G-Bank best bet.
Yeah, I like Auburn too. For me, I'm going to go to the ice. Brady Tkachuk alluded to this earlier. I think he's going to have a monster night tonight. So we're going to go over 3.5 shots. That's plus 105 on DraftKings was what I locked it in. And again, I think that sometimes with these players, you take a look at what they've done recently. 1 shot in his last game, we don't love that. But previous to that, 6 shots and 9 shots. His time on ice is always up towards the top. And then you got to look at who they're playing. The Pittsburgh Penguins, you could make a legit argument, have the worst defense in all of the NHL, and the metrics would kind of lean you that way. They've given up the 2nd most goals in all of the NHL. They've given up the 4th most shots per game allowed in the NHL as well. So, again, I will always throw that out to you. Whenever you're going to take a shot prop, you may want to also sprinkle something on on a goal also, like an anytime goal. I think that is a smart play. And really quick, it's not one of my best bets, but I just wanted to sneak it in there because it's an NBA play that won't happen until a little bit later tonight. Steph Curry, I think he tops his points total tonight, over 21.5 points, minus 108 on FanDuel, 23. He scored 23 points in 34 minutes against the Pelicans in their last game, and the Spurs play a fast-paced game. So I think the Warriors would be fast-paced, which means lots of shot opportunities. I think Steph probably goes for 25 tonight.
Guys, these best bets are brought to you by G-Bank, the official bank of VEASAN. G-Bank up in the ante with up to $750 in bonuses out there. If you're a new customer and you spend $1,000 in the first 90 days, from your account opening, we will give you a $250 bonus over there at G-Bank. And if you're a big baller and you put a bunch of money on there in the first 30 days, we'll give you another $500 bonus as well, potentially a $750 bonus for signing up. Apply now at VEASAN.com/G-Bank. That is VSIN.com, the letter G, BANK. This is subject to credit approval, and as always, terms and conditions do apply. Keith, Producer Corey, your best bet, he said it was Brady what? What did he say was Brady's last name? I can't even remember how he said it.
What Corey said?
Yeah, I mean, what did you say, Corey?
I think he said...
To check?
Yeah, he said like Brady Tkachuk.
I love it. That's
I mean,
what
listen,
he said. Hey,
Corey, you're the best.
Hey, we'll pull the curtain back here on the show. You know, I mean, it's fun. If we can't laugh at ourselves, who can we laugh at? It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Stick around. You got Live Bet Sunday coming up here on the network, then Cashing Out coming out at you at 11 p.m. Eastern. Of course, wake up tomorrow morning with VEASAN by the books at 7 a.m. Eastern here on VEASAN Channel 158 and on YouTube TV. For Keith, I'm Matt. Good luck on all your bets.